Is that more? In Manitoba, the storm doesn't wait. The cold is sharp. The wind, it bites. Thunder, it claps. For us, we face it head on. That's what Bisons do. This is how we represent Manitoba. Horns up, shoulder to shoulder. We don't run from it. We charge through it. Every fight, every storm, we face together. As one herd.
Welcome inside Investors Group Athletic Center for night 2 of this Canada West matchup between the hosting University of Manitoba Bisons and the visiting University of Saskatchewan Huskies. My name is Amber May. I'll be with you on play-by-play this evening.
My name is Adam DeYunker, and I'll be providing the color commentary for tonight's match.
Now let's meet the starters.
We are about to meet the starting lineup for Saskatchewan.
Martinsville, Saskatchewan, number 8, Aiden Woloshin.
Getting the start tonight in the middle, number 8, Hayden Woloshin.
From Battleford, Saskatchewan, number 9, Taryn Hanna.
On the outside, we have number 9, Taryn Hanna.
Saskatchewan, number 10, Keely Anderson.
Also on the outside, number 10, Keely Anderson.
Columbia, number 14, Talia Cook.
In the middle, number 14, Talia Cook.
From Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, number 15, Abby Klein.
On the outside, number 15, Abby Klein.
Bridge, Alberta, number 20,
And their setter, number 20, Tiel Hagel.
Libero for the Huskies.
Last but certainly not least, their libero, number 5, Mary Rio Florido.
In his 11th season.
Saskatchewan is coached by Mark Dodds in his 11th season. Now there's just going to be a quick in-house hype video play for the hosting Bisons. While that's happening, why don't we take a look at the head-to-head matchup between these two teams. Adam, take it away.
As you can see here, these are two of the top programs in the Canada West Women's Volleyball Conference this season, and a lot of comparables between the two as we see some serious service pressure from both sides, a lot of defense, and it seems to be just a little bit of a tidier hitting percentage for the Manitoba Bisons in comparison. And I think a lot of these head-to-head statistics translate to what we saw last night in the Friday night matchup. That was a 3-0 win for the host Manitoba Bisons, where we saw a very efficient night from a few select Bison attackers and some serious struggles at times from the Huskies offensively. And that is sort of the main piece of why we are here with a Manitoba Bison 1-0 lead in the weekend series. We'll dive into some more of those storylines as this match progresses, but for now, I'll turn it back over to you, Amber, as the Manitoba Bisons announce who will be playing and starting for them here on the Saturday night match.
First things first, their setter that just made her way to the floor, number 6, Julia Martins. On the right side, getting the start tonight, number 7, Ella Gray. On the outside, number 13, Andy Almonte. In the middle, number 17, Abby Endaplet. Also in the middle, their captain, number 23, Eve Katojo. And Rhea Surings, number 25, making history in last night's match, having the most career kills in the regular season. She is at the top of the Manitoba Bisons program record books for that. And last but certainly not least, making her way to the floor there was number 10, their libero, Chelsea Sabenga.
The visiting Huskies are an incredibly well-rounded team, as they have so many different players and so much depth of talent that I think the kind of puzzle that Coach Mark Dodds is trying to put together this weekend is still being built, as we've seen kind of several personnel changes from one night to the next. Most importantly, we are seeing Aiden Woloshin in place of Jessica Bergstrom, who started last night's match. We're also seeing Taryn Hanna, who did play a significant portion of Friday night's match, but did not start, in relief of Rosetta Sear. And, you know, I think depth can be your friend and a tool, but it can also be a hindrance at times as you're trying to build what is your most efficient, most effective lineup. And considering what our very small sample size of the Saskatchewan Huskies last night, I really like the adjustments made by Coach Dodds here with this select 7 to be starting. So we'll see how they interact, how they begin to sort of mesh through the early part of this match. On the flip side, it's steady Eddie for the Manitoba Bisons, still with the exact same 6 that continue to roll as they have done for so many weekends in a row now.
Yeah, you make a good point there, Adam. Team chemistry is such an important secret sauce in the game of volleyball, and having a solid starting lineup is a key part of that. Let's see how these Huskies can click tonight. Andy Almonte with the first serve, pass up from Klein, going back to Cook. Nice dig from Almonte. Free ball sent over from Manitoba. Let's see what the Huskies can do with it. Back to Anderson with the tip. Martins gets a hop on it, but not enough height. Keely Anderson getting the first kill of the night.
Anderson scored a lot last night with the tip. That was sort of her select shot where doesn't need to be overly aggressive. She was still finding ways to put points on the board, and she seems to be hopping right back into that train of thought here tonight.
Pass up from Sabenga, outside to Rhea Surings. Bisons answer with a kill of their own.
Surings really took over the match last night in several ways, Amber. We saw her rack up multiple aces on the service line. She was incredibly effective attacking as well. It ended up being 14 kills for her last night to go along with 5 aces. 19.5 total points when you add in the block there. And more importantly, it was at the important times where her team needed a comeback or needed a run. She was doing it exactly on cue.
Pass up from Gray is a little shaky. Free ball sent over from Manitoba. Hagel looking to connect in the middle to Woloshin. The middles getting in the action. Huskies up quickly here, 3-1.
And a great set, too, from Hagel as this free ball pass from the Huskies back row. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for Hagel to still force the middle and catch a lot of real estate for the kill.
Free ball sent over from Manitoba. Pass up from Hannah. Looking outside to Klein. Nice slowdown by that Bison's block. Back to Gray. What a dig from Taryn Hannah. She now will attack. Popped up from Plett. Gray another chance at it. She gets the one-on-one and takes full advantage.
Love the set selection there from Julia Martins as the Huskies are paying so much attention to Rhea Surings in the front row, and rightfully so, but that's going to open up lanes for the other incredibly capable attackers of Manitoba, and Ella Gray is the benefactor of that right there.
Hagel going outside to Klein. She's looking to tip, but it's recycled off the block. Another chance for Klein. That time finding a way to score. Nice deep swing to the corner.
Sabenga hasn't had the sharpest start to this match as she's in great position, but just unable to execute on that first contact dig. And we know she's more than capable and a fiery competitor. We'll see her settle in here on Saturday night.
Pass up from Gray. Martins outside to Surings. Surings also going corner to corner for the kill. Good side out there for Manitoba. Keely Anderson is a dangerous server, not one you want to get on a run. So Manitoba puts her serve to bed quite quickly. Surings now to serve. Pass up from Rio Florido. Back row attack from Hannah. Nicely struck by Taryn Hannah in the pipe run.
We mentioned this pregame, Amber, but Hannah did not start last night's match, but due to some struggles through various Huskies, she spent a lot of time on court, and she ended up being one of the more influential players for the Huskies, and we know she's quite a capable athlete in many areas of the game. I'm excited for her to get the opportunity to start and find that rhythm right from the first serve.
Right on cue, Hannah. Another kill.
She's also the captain for this Huskies team, and you mentioned it, team chemistry is so important, Amber, and perhaps she's maybe a bit of that glue that is bringing together the team, and that comfort factor, having your top leader on the floor just to ease the minds of everybody around her. And you know, it's sort of that intangible that coaches talk about a lot, is you yourself can be a great producer, but do you make the others around you better? And that, I think, is perhaps, with, again, my limited experience with this Huskies roster, a piece that Taryn Hannah brings to the team.
Great service pressure here as well from the Huskies. They're really picking on Ella Gray, forcing her to pass, and she hasn't had the cleanest serve receives to start this first set, which is really limiting Manitoba's offensive options, and a lot of free balls being sent over, so just trying to manage the ball, which has allowed Taryn Hannah to have lots of opportunities to swing because Teal Hagel's getting perfect free ball passes.
Early timeout from Coach Ken Bentley, as we saw in that good look to his timeout, really addressing things with his middle blockers. That's Avienda Plett and Eve Katojo, and perhaps a discussion around their tactical block location. And what I mean by that is there's been a lot of cross-court kills so far for the Huskies, and perhaps Coach Bentley is discussing a little bit of an adjustment just 10 points into this match, perhaps getting his middle blockers to take a little bit more of that cross-court shot away from the Huskies, and we'll see if that's the case here. Either way, we are right back into action with Abby Klein serving, once again at Ella Gray.
Sabanga stepping in to help out. Free ball sent over once again from Manitoba. Teal Hagel taking offense into her own hands.
We didn't see a lot of aggression from Hagel last night as the second contact dump, but right there, she takes matters into her own hands, as you said, Amber, and the Manitoba Bison defense just not expecting that play whatsoever.
It's a better pass from Manitoba, allowing Andy Almonte to get a quality swing off the block and out of bounds for the kill.
We were speaking about Ken Bentley's timeout and where it was spent. On the flip side, Mark Dodd spent the entire timeout with number 8, Aiden Wool-Ocean, exclusively talking to her about her blocking footwork and her hands. And he has a little bit of a grin on his face as that one didn't go her way right out of the timeout.
Nice swing from Hannah on that out-of-system ball. Recycled opportunity for Saskatchewan. Keely Anderson's attack doesn't clear.
Huskies can't get it over, called for a fourth hit. Bisons win the point.
Avi Plett now back to serve. Pass up from Rio Florido. She lays out for it. Hannah recycled off the block. Klein, a better swing out of the back row, but misses the end line by an inch or two.
You know, so much of this game is played at the net, whether it's block, attack, setting, what have you. But Rio Florido has been a phenomenal piece to this Huskies team, as she is so consistent in the back row and her ball control is at a different level. Unfortunately, the commentator curse works at the service line and on the receive side, as I give her a few flowers for how well she's played throughout this season. And unfortunately, that overpass leads to a very easy kill for Manitoba.
That's a better pass from Rio Florido. Voloshin's attack is recycled off the block. Now Hannah right into the hands of Eve Katojo. Perhaps that's the adjustment that Coach Ken Bentley was talking to his middles about during that timeout, because Taryn Hannah has been having quite the time trying to work around the blockers in front of her the last few sequences.
And I think that's, as we have timeout number 1 from Coach Dodds on the Saskatchewan side, that is a characteristic of great teams. And as we discussed pregame, these are two great teams in the Canada West Conference, but the ability to take feedback and make adjustments on the fly is really what, I guess, proves that your team can be successful no matter the circumstance. And perhaps we're seeing a little bit of that there from the Manitoba Bisons coming out of their first timeout. And we'll see what the Saskatchewan Husky changes may occur coming out of their first timeout here in the match.
Abby Platt still to serve out of the timeout. Pass up from Rio Florido. Back to Woloshin. The step run for Woloshin results in a kill.
That's a perfect set from Hagel and a physical swing coming out of the timeout. Good side out for the Huskies as Manitoba has now clawed their way back into this match, but that run was stopped immediately post Dodd's timeout.
It's a better pass from Gray, tipped over from Katojo. Nice court vision from Katojo to identify that opportunity.
And she's a player, Amber, who typically plays at one speed, and it's fast, it's physical, but seeing that nice touch on the ball and identification of where there's some real estate to do so is a refreshing changeup from her.
Martins now to serve. Pass up from Klein. Hagel teeing it up for Anderson. The dig for Martins is up and over and into the hands of Taryn Hanna for the kill. Wouldn't have mattered regardless. Manitoba was called as a net violation.
Able to get that one to drop. Huskies reclaim the lead. Serving for Saskatchewan, number 20, TL.
Bit of a curveball from there on the hand of Anderson. Hagel now to serve. Nicely passed from Almonte in the middle to Katojo. Rio Florido one arms it back over. Sabanga checking in. What a choice from Eve Katojo. You can't see us, but Adam immediately sat back in his seat, surprised that she opted to go for that run. But
it was so nonchalant, Amber. We'll get another look here on the replay as it's going to be right from the block. But it looked like she was going to set the ball, and all of a sudden she was in full attack mode.
Amonte serve pass up from Klein. Rio Florido takes in to take the second contact. Couple of Bison's players on defense tangled up there. Nice swing from Hanna.
That attack goes off Southern Bison defender and out of bounds. Point goes to the Huskies. Serving for Saskatchewan, number 9.
Taryn Hanna now back to serve. Nicely passed by Sabanga, flicking it back to Gray. Hard struck cross-court shot. Net violation called on Saskatchewan, so it wouldn't have mattered regardless. Point Bisons.
Ella Gray is not being given a lot of attention here on the attacking side. She's had a one-on-one just about every swing tonight, and as you mentioned, it's not going to go on the stat sheet as a kill because of the net violation, but it would have been one, and she's going to continue to roll. I'd love to see Julia Martins continue to go to Ella Gray until Saskatchewan does something about it.
Well dug on that hard swing. Surinks now. Rio Florido lays out for it. What a dig, and Manitoba comes out on top, but Rio Florido is putting in the work covering the backcourt.
And that touch there is just, it's blind. She's working away from the net and away from the court, one-handed, and it was in the perfect position. What a phenomenal play, but ultimately the Bison block of Rhea Surinks gets the last laugh, and Manitoba gets their first lead of the night here at 12-11.
Jojo serve pass up from Rio Florido, connecting in the middle to Cook. Lots of pops off the block. Manitoba able to recover. And Cook throws it deep, handcuffing Martins.
Good consistent play there from the Huskies, not panicking with some scrambly play of the Bisons, but sticking to the game plan and attacking through the middle of the court over and over again.
Substitution here for the Huskies is number 1, Haley Poyer, is going to check in to serve. She's in place of Talia Cook. Poyer has been one of the deadliest serving specialists that I've ever seen during my 8 years calling U Sports games. She is so effective, putting a ton of pressure on the Manitoba Bisons. She went on several runs in last night's match. Let's see what she can do here. Ball in hand for serve number 2. Pass up from Gray is pretty good. Out to Surings. Sharp cross court, but wide.
There's that run you referenced, Amber, as all of a sudden Haley Poyer has now pieced together 2 straight. And you know, for how aggressive she is as a server, I don't know if we saw a mistake from her at the service line yesterday. It's just remarkable how consistent she is with this serve.
Well, commentator's curse is alive and well as her serve goes out the back.
Sorry to all you Husky fans tuned in. It was not my intention. Genuinely impressed by Haley Poyer and the way that she strikes that ball. She's going to come back off the court as her job is done as the service substitute.
Gray now to serve. Pass up from Klein is a little shaky. Hannah is going to send over a free ball. Julia Martins opting to go on 2.
Not all that deceptive from Martins, but physical. And sometimes you get the trade-off if you just go up and punish that ball deep into the court. And that's exactly what she does against the, I guess, a little bit caught by surprise Huskies defense.
Hagel reaching, able to recover. Abby Platt kind of paintbrushing that one into the middle. Not a aggressive swing, not a ton of pace, just well placed.
And on the flip side of my previous comment, the deception comes from Martins there. Watch her load up like she's going to do the same thing, catching a jump from the Huskies' left side and opening up a bunch of real estate for her middle. Platt.
Maybe not the best set selection there from Rio Florido checking in to help out. Suring swinging away now, and a big block by a tandem of Voloshin and Anderson. Bounced well into the Bison's backcourt.
The Huskies' block system is just allowing them to release the Surings. They're going to live with a one-on-one block against Avi Platt. They're going to live with a one-on-one block against Ella Gray. What they aren't going to do tonight is give Rhea Surings an easy look, and here they are. Once again, 2 blocks up and dug well by Anderson.
Some scrambly play here. Klein looking for the corner. Sabanga checking in to help. Suring swinging away and powering through that block for the kill. That's so hard. She's so far off the net. She has so many angles to work around that block. Huskies were in good position, just not their time.
And as a left side, when that ball is being set almost from behind you, as that ball was from Sabanga, it's so hard to see anywhere that the block or defense is, and that's just managed very well by Surings.
Outside attempt for Klein, and a big block. Abby Platt shutting her down.
Well, the setter TL Hagel wants that one back as Woloshin just reaching and taking away what would have been an easy cover on this attack. Watch here as number 8 just reaching right in front of number 20. Just a simple mine would have solved that problem.
Heavy-handed serve from Surings. The pass goes up and over. Surings now swinging on the right, catching some fingertips on its way out of bounds. Rhea Surings with another kill. Coach Mark Dodd's going to call a timeout as the Bisons have carved out a 3-point lead.
Much more balanced attack from Manitoba in tonight's start compared to what we saw last night, Amber, as if you recall, those of you who may have tuned in to Canada West TV for Friday night's matchup between these two talented teams, the Huskies really led for the majority of the first set, but it became the Rhea Surinks show when it mattered. And once the score hit 20, she came alive and began to score at will. And thankfully tonight, that hasn't had to be the case for Manitoba, as she's got 3 kills. She's got 4 kills. Eve Katojo has 3. Ella Gray has 2, and there's 3 other Bisons with a kill as well. So the production is much more spread out for Manitoba, which I think has been a big component to why they have afforded themselves a 3-point lead here in the start of this match.
Surinks went on a couple of service runs in last night's match. She has strung together a few here in set 1 on Saturday. Decently handled by Hannah. Huge cross-court bomb of a swing from Abby Klein.
Important side out for the Huskies, breaking the serve of Surinks right out of the timeout and keeping this this set very close, about 2/3 of the way through.
Klein's serve causes some trouble. Out to Almonte, off speed and into the pot of the Huskies. A well-handled ball by Andy Almonte.
She has been terrorizing the Canada West Conference for years with her ability to change the pace of her attack, and right there catching all 3 Huskies defenders flat-footed in the back row.
Abby Plett's serve is passed up from Rio Florido. Out to Hannah, and a massive block from Eve Katojo.
We gave Rhea Surinks the shout out for her record-setting performance last night, but just a weekend ago, Eve Katojo moved into first all-time in the Manitoba Bisons program in stuff blocks, and we see a gain right there, why she has had so much success through her career.
Nice slowdown in the Bisons block. Surinks is going to have to set that one over. Rio Florido is still covering a lot of real estate. Tiel Hagel catches the bottom of the net, just trying to pull it off the net. Called in favor of Manitoba.
Just an unfortunate bounce against the Huskies there, as it's so difficult to pull that ball off the net without interfering, and it happens more often than not.
Plett's serve floats quite deep, but drops perfectly on the Huskies' end line.
That ball looked like it was going to be out by about a meter, Amber, but as soon as it got to the level of serve receivers on Saskatchewan, it just fell out of the air. Watch here, as it's almost over the shoulder of Rio Florido and then parks itself on the end line.
Couple substitutions for Saskatchewan quickly, as number 2 Cassidy Wallace is going to check in to set, as well as number 13 Jordan Wallace is going to check in to attack.
We saw this double sub last night in the 3rd set, and the Manitoba Bisons led by about 10 points at that time. Thanks to the double sub, the Huskies pushed all the way back, eventually, unfortunately, losing that set 25-23. But these two, the combination of both Wallaces, were incredibly successful and helpful for the Huskies, and they make an immediate impact right there in their first opportunity.
Another substitution for the Huskies, number 11, Ashley Toms, is going to check in as a service sub for Aiden Wolishin. Tom's serve won't clear the net.
Serve into the net. Bisons with the point. Checking back into the game for the Huskies, number 8, Aiden Wolishin. Julia Martins.
Martin's now back to serve for Manitoba. Pass up from Hannah. Flicking it back to Wallace. Blocked but recycled. Real Florido having to help out. Hannah swinging high and deep, well handled by Sabenga. And a look down the line from Ella Gray results in a kill, bringing the Bisons to possible set point.
They have been in the driver's seat since about 18-16, and it's just been consistent, simple play. That rally, a perfect example. Just a simple high dig into the middle of the court, an easy set, and an aggressive swing.
And a big block will finish it off for Manitoba. They secure set one, 25-17. Pretty solid start, and then the Huskies started to fade near that last stretch as Bison started playing a very clean game of volleyball. We'll have more Canada West volleyball ahead of us. Keep with us on Canada West TV, presented by BioSteel. We'll see you in set two.
Our story begins on the plains.
A bison stands, unyielding to the gusting winds.
It steps forward to join the herd.
Together, they move with purpose,
driving relentlessly ahead.
At the University of Manitoba, these traits have defined us since 1877.
Nestled on Treaty 1 and Treaty 5 territories and on the national homeland of the Red River Métis,
is forever entwined with Manitoba.
Our steps have shaped its terrain
and echoed far beyond.
Like the creation of canola, Canada's most successful modern crop.
Like the advancement of ultrasound, a critical leap in prenatal care.
Like the discovery of a life-saving treatment for Ebola.
But these are just glimpses of our impact.
And we know there is much more to accomplish.
As the sun sets over the plains, the bison pause their journey.
And the northern lights emerge.
Bold and brilliant, these lights are a spectacle of the north.
They've been a source of inspiration for eons,
guiding us toward possibility.
Under these lights, researchers study melting sea ice, revealing ways to predict and counter the effects of climate change.
Under these lights, advances reconciliation, partnering with Indigenous communities to bring education closer to home for Indigenous students.
Under these lights, embraces a holistic approach to health, from improving food security in northern Manitoba to enhancing maternal and newborn health in India.
Under these lights, these bright, beaming lights,
transforms the learning experience,
empowering law students to serve underserved Manitobans
and bolster our communities.
And under these lights, the bison continue their journey,
revealing bison in numbers greater than ever before.
This is a new day,
a brighter day.
We persist, pushing toward a brighter future for all.
Teams back on the floor, ready to get underway with set two. Manitoba top Saskatchewan in set one, 25-17. We have the stats from that set in front of us. What is the story, Adam?
The defense of the Bisons was stellar, Amber, as they collected 5 total team blocks as well as 11 digs as a team. Just phenomenal, systematic, cohesive defense from Manitoba that caused all sorts of trouble for the Huskies. And we're seeing a similar start in set number 2, but that dig just a little bit too much for the setter of Martins to recover. On the flip side, the Huskies only 5 digs as a team, 2 total team blocks. So they're going to have to put up a little bit more of a fight as the Manitoba Bisons collectively attacked at 48% efficiency in set number 1.
Down ball from Gray. Anderson teeing it up in the back row for Klein. Out of bounds.
the Bisons with the point. Serving for Manitoba, number
Kotojo now heading back to the line for U of M. Pass from Klein is quick but accurate. And a good read from Manitoba's block as Anderson peeled inside to run the middle lane.
Yeah, great identification, as you said, Amber, as last night that beat Manitoba a few times, but tonight they get two blockers all over Keely Anderson, and even with the tip choice, she had nowhere to go.
Tojo's serve floats long, point Huskies.
Huskies with the point. Now serving for Saskatchewan, number 9, Taryn Hanna. Tied up at 2.
Taryn Hanna at the line now for U of S. Nicely passed by Sabanga, back to Gray. Recycled opportunity off the block. Out to Surings and a big block, a tandem of Anderson and Cook.
Solid hands from Anderson and Cook, pardon me, as they gave so much attention there once again to Surings and just pressing perfectly back into the court. That's just the outside hand of Anderson.
Service ace from Hanna to follow it up.
Hanna with a bit of a knuckleball. That lands for the ace.
Nicely passed by Sabanga, connecting with Plett in the middle, dug up by Hanna. Anderson now takes Martins out of the equation. Sabanga to Gray, and another block for the Huskies.
You know, we were complimenting Manitoba through set number 1 about how efficient and clean they played, but we have seen a different Bisons team starting set number 2 as they've been blocked once, they've made a couple hitting errors, and just not the same look that we saw in set 1, but that's a good response from number 7, Ella Gray, who rips that ball high and deep cross court for the Bison's 3rd point of the set.
It is number 7, Ella Gray.
Gray now back to serve. Pass from Klein needs some help. She gets a chance to attack it though as she cuts that inside the Bison's block.
Good angle from the Huskies' left side as Klein just seeing the Manitoba block and rendering it useless with that thumb down shot across the court.
Cook now back to serve. Pass up from Gray. Just a miscommunication there. I don't know if Plett was thinking that she was going to have, or maybe Martins thought Plett was going to go for the step run, or what happened there.
Yeah, that's certainly the case, as it was Ella Gray who had to move up to pass the ball and effectively got in the way of Avi Plett. She wasn't able to get to that step run, but Martins didn't see that and ended up setting it into no Bison attacker.
Free ball sent over from Manitoba. Outside to Klein, another sharp cross-court shot. This one doesn't land in. Manitoba's point.
Saskatchewan bailing Manitoba out with that mistake, as Manitoba themselves have been all out of sorts to start set number 2, as some lack of communication, some ball handling mistakes in that rally, but they get to breathe a sigh of relief and rotate out of that rotation, putting their best server back to the line.
Decently passed by Hanna. Quick set to Woloshin is dug up by Surings. Rio Florida with the dig there. Tips by Klein right onto the platform of Almonte, and Martins sees an opportunity to activate her own offense.
Julia Martins, the left-handed setter, is the daughter of Jules Martins, a former Manitoba Bison himself. a very well-decorated left-handed attacker back in his day, won a few national championships with Manitoba, and his daughter showcasing some of that Martins style with that kill.
Tip out of the pipe run from Hannah. Another swing for Martins, that time slowed down by the Huskies block. Anderson's attack won't clear, and it'll be Bison's point.
An attack does not clear the net. Bisons win the point and pull within one.
Pass by Hannah. Free ball sent over from the Huskies. Let's see what Manitoba can make of it. Play on the run. Connecting the middle to Voloshin. Nicely dug by Almonte. There seems to be a communication breakdown across the Bison's front row. That is now twice that Avi Plett has not executed the step run. What do you think is happening there, Adam?
This most recent occurrence, Amber, is a little bit puzzling to me, as this time there was nobody in the way for Avi Plett. I think she's just hesitating to change the run and not communicating that to Martins, and unfortunately Martins has to go with whatever the first option was decided before the rally started, and Coach Ken Bentley was a little bit critical of Avi Plett after that rally. It's not going to matter in the long run, as it was followed up with a Husky service error from Keely Anderson.
Nice pass from Taryn Hannah. TL Hagel opting to go on two.
TL Hagel with the over on the second hit, catching the Bisons off guard.
Very deceptive, and that's now 2 kills for TL Hagel on the setter dump. This one you can just see Eve Katojo releasing out to the left side early, opening up all sorts of room for that setter dump.
Service error from Klein, hands the point back to the Bisons.
Back and forth we go. Serving for Manitoba, number 6, Julia Martins.
Martins now back to serve. Pass up from Rio Florido. Back row attack from Abby Klein finds its way around Eve Katojo's hands.
Good choice from the Huskies offense, as we haven't seen that set selection out of the back row just yet from them tonight, and we know from last night's match that Abby Klein is more than capable of scoring from the back row as well as the front.
Pass up from Sabenga, connecting in the middle to Katojo. Scooped up from Klein. Now Anderson out of the C-ball run. She's able to execute a bit of a redirect off the Bison's block. Well struck by Keely Anderson.
We're definitely feeling the momentum on the Saskatchewan side of the floor as they continue to roll, and it seems like they're earning 2 points to every Manitoba one in the last few rallies.
Free ball opportunity for Saskatchewan. Hannah swinging sharp cross court. You can see Sabenga really trying to get out of the way, assuming that one was out, but it does tag that far sideline. Another kill for Taryn Hannah. That is her 6th so far of the night, and Coach Ken Bentley has seen enough now that the Huskies have carved out a 4-point lead.
We mentioned at the start of this set that it was such a balanced production of points for the Manitoba Bison side, and all of a sudden we've kind of fallen flat from that for the Manitoba roster, as there's really no production coming from their side. Of 8 of their points here in set number 2, I believe at least 2, maybe 3 have been missed serves, and there's been at least 1 or 2 attack errors as well. So the bulk of Manitoba's points in this set have been given to them, not earned. And that's problematic, as most teams are not going to consistently make those types of mistakes. They're going to earn their own points rather than give you. So Manitoba, they have to start finding a way to score in their own right before the Huskies sort of take note of this and clean up their side of the game a little bit more.
Yeah, just looking quickly at the live stats available on CanadaWest.org. Manitoba has 16 kills right now. In the first set, they had 14, which means to start set 2, they have had a lone, well, 2 little kills. Not that significant considering the score. They've also had 3 attack errors. So as a collective, they're hitting negative. They got to find a way to up the offense if they're going to have a chance here against the Huskies in set 2. Back to Almonte, cross court. There's a kill. All right, they're back up to par.
And just keeping it simple in that sequence, Amber. Not a perfect pass from the Bisons, but high into the middle of the court, giving Martins an opportunity to set a nice, high, easy ball. And Andy Almonte, she's been doing this for years. That's an easy kill for her cross court against a one-woman block.
Also not very often that Andy Almonte gets the set in that rotation. We don't see her swing on the right side very frequently. Rhea Surings also follows it up with a stuffed block. Manitoba starting to chip away now.
You know, there's so many ways in the sport of volleyball to score points, and sometimes if one area isn't working, like the offense, you can still do it from the serve, or most recently, you can do it from the block too, and leave it up to Manitoba's best player to get back on the board. But it's followed up with a missed serve from Andy Almonte. Just didn't quite get on top of that ball.
Hagel now at the line. Pass up from Surings, activating Katojo. That ball was pretty much at Katojo's neck, off the net, and she popped it from shoulder height. Not much she can do with it.
Checking in for the Bisons, number 1.
Coach Camelli making an adjustment here, bringing in Bethany Carter in relief of Andy Almonte. Nice pass from Carter. Back to Gray, swinging deep, tagging the end line. Nice answer from Manitoba.
Such a disciplined swing from Ella Gray, reaching high and snapping into the high seam of the Huskies block. That's a nearly undefendable ball from Manitoba's right side.
Katojo now to serve. Bit of a shaky pass from Klein, needs some help. She's able to get a swing off, but execution's not there. It'll find the net.
The service from Katojo. Bisons within 2, 14-12. Huskies lead it in the second set.
Pass up from Rio Florido, out to Hannah. Working her way through the seam of Plett and Gray.
That's a big swing straight down onto the Bison side of the floor. I'm a little surprised that she was able to find that angle, considering the 2 Manitoba blockers seemed to be up early, but as you mentioned, Amber, just too big of a seam between the middle of Plett and the outside of Gray.
Hannah's serve floats long.
To catch the inside edge.
Gray now back at the line for Manitoba.
Serving for Manitoba, number 7, Ella Gray.
Pass up from Rio Florido. Trying to connect in the middle to Cook. She pops it over. Takes Martins out of the equation. Surings swinging away. Going high off hands. Smart swing from Surings.
And a great broken play set from Chelsea Sabanga as the dig came from Martins. Setter is unable to play back-to-back contact, so somebody else has to step in, and Sabanga delivered a perfect ball all the way out to Rhea Surings.
A service ace from Gray to follow it up as that float dropped once it passed the 3-meter line.
Manitoba Bisons haven't done it in a flashy way, but they have climbed their way out of this hole that they've found themselves in the entire way of this second set. All of a sudden, it's all square at 15 points apiece.
Just wide on the near sideline is a serve from Gray.
Huskies win the point and win the lead. Serving for Saskatchewan, number 14, Natalia
Cook now to serve for the Huskies. good enough for an ace from Cook. That brings Almonte back onto the floor for Bethany Carter. Pass up from Gray is right on the dot, out to Surinks. That was blocked off the forehead of Surinks and then into the net on the outside of the antenna. Getting a look on the replay here.
That's another block by Anderson, and she's been incredibly solid against Rhea Surinks so far tonight, as that's 2 blocks in this set alone, simply from the outside hand of Anderson.
Pass from Gray is over into no man's land. Really tough one for Martins to chase down, and Coach Ken Bentley is going to make an adjustment here, bringing in Ben Wellingham for Gray. Gray has struggled with her serve receive this evening. Let's see if Ben Wellingham can make a difference.
And you said right from early in the first set, Amber, that has been the target of the Huskies' serve, is going at Ella Gray relentlessly, and perhaps a change of personnel, bringing her off the floor, will ease some of the pressure for the Manitoba serve receivers.
It's a decent pass from Ben Wellingham. Plett takes that step run, but is blocked by a solo Abby Klein.
Great run from the Manitoba offense, but Abby Klein just setting this block in the perfect location. Watch here, as she's not fooled by where that set should have been, which is all the way out to the antenna. It didn't make it anywhere close, and she herself stays inside with the set and takes away any angle that Abby Plett could have tried to attack.
It was 15-15 just a moment ago, so Coach Ken Bentley has called a timeout as the Bisons are starting to struggle here as we get deeper into set 2.
This timeout by Bentley clearly being directed to Martins and Plett, and I'm no body language expert, but it appears that Coach Ken Bentley is done with the step around attack from Martins and Abby Plett. So we'll see if perhaps she sticks to a steady diet of sets that are in front of her rather than running behind the setter with that step around, as there's been 3 mistakes made in this set from Abby Plett and Julia Martins with that step run.
I did notice also last time Abby Plett was rotated through the back row and on the bench with Sabang on the floor as libero. Coach Ken Bentley spent a lot of one-on-one time with Abby Plett. Specifically, it seemed like talking about that step run. So they had talked about it. Plett went back on the floor. The execution wasn't there once again. It's time to do something different. Cook's serve trickles over. Van Wellingham lays out for it. Free ball sent over from the Bisons. Good opportunity here for Saskatchewan. Anderson swinging high and deep. Another disciplined swing from the right side.
This service pressure from Talia Cook has just completely propelled the Huskies to this large 6-point lead, and Manitoba has had no rhythm offensively the entire time that number 14 has been serving.
And a net trickler that bounces out of bounds from Rhea Surinks continues this Talia Cook service run. It's a good side out from Manitoba, just an unlucky bounce from the net, and it really did not fall out of bounds by much. Sabanga lays out for it. Out of system ball, Surinks still rips away down the line. Manitoba puts a break on that intense service run from Talia Cook.
Such an impressive swing there from Rhea Surinks, as that set was not of the best quality, but she stayed aggressive and elected to hit the shortest part of the court available to her, sneaking it down the line.
Surinks now to serve. Rio Florido with a perfect pass connecting to Woloshin. What a side out for Saskatchewan. There is a reason. I know it's a dig stat, but Rio Florido is a mainstay and at the top of Canada West digging. But her serve receive has been perfectly on point this evening.
To serve for the
Haley Poyer subbed in to serve for the Huskies. Another one just skims over, pass up from Sabanga. C-ball run from Rhea Surings puts any hope of a Poyer service run to bed.
You know, this set might be too little too late for Manitoba, as the Huskies are just 2 points away from evening it up at one set apiece. But momentum is important, and that's perhaps what we're seeing from this Manitoba side, just trying to build a little bit of momentum and rhythm before set number 3 approaches, and they're going to continue to apply pressure as the float serve from Plett unable to come up with any quality contact.
Keely Anderson quickly checking back onto the floor as Poyer makes her way back to the bench. Plett to serve. Nicely passed from Klein, going back to Woloshin. Off the block, and Woloshin, I think, was hoping that that was going to land out, but it dropped right on the sideline.
It was darn close too, Amber, as I think it actually caught a piece of the net tape as well, which I think took enough of the momentum off of the ball to allow it to fall into the sideline rather than traveling out of bounds.
Plett serve finds the net, handing the Huskies several possible set point opportunities.
Now serving for the Huskies, number 15, Abby Klein. Set point.
Klein now back to serve. Pass up from Almonte, needs some help. Suring sends over a free ball. Going back to Woloshin, nice slowdown from the Bisons block. Martin's connecting with Katojo, it's popped over. Back row attack from Klein, recycled off the block. Hannah, huge cross-court rip to seal the deal for the Huskies here in set 2. They'll take it 25-19, and we are tied up at a set apiece. Lots more Canada West volleyball to come. Keep with us on Canada West TV, presented by BioSteel. We'll be back in set 3.
Manitoba Bisons last hosted the Women's Volleyball National Championships in 2001. Flash forward 24 years, and here we are again. The Bisons in the national final on home court with the RSEC champions standing in the way of their 8th national championship.
We play the match, not the moment. Let's go to work. This is our gym. We show them this is our house. That's right, we train for this. You stay in it.
This has been years in the making for the Manitoba Bisons, and they have done it, their first gold medal in 11 years.
What a romantic finish for the Manitoba Bisons. A proud display of youth sports women's volleyball.
This entire tournament has been phenomenal. We have seen the best of the best that this country has to offer here at Investors Group Athletics Center.
We are ready for more Canada West volleyball in set 3 here as these two teams battle. We are tied up at a set apiece. Saskatchewan securing that last set 25-19. What is the story on the page through sets 1 and 2, Adam?
Manitoba's serve-receive really let them down in set number 2, Amber, as they collected 7 attack errors in that set alone, and it was really propelled by some poor passing, making life very difficult on Julia Martins and the attackers. So they got to sharpen up things offensively if they want to rebound. Defense for Manitoba was solid, but they just could not transition it into any points on the board. So really all Manitoba's fault, I would say, for that set number 2 win for the Huskies. They continue to apply pressure, but that's a better pass from Rhea Surings.
Good coverage from Anderson, out now to Klein. Good slowdown from the Bisons block, but Sabanga had an off read on it, trying to cut in.
And drops for another Huskies point.
Pass up from Surings in the middle, tipped over from Katojo. Few too many cooks in the kitchen there for Saskatchewan. Point Manitoba.
Now serving for Manitoba, number 23, Eve Katojo.
Katojo now back to serve. Pass up from Rio Florido. Martin's taken out of the equation on the Anderson attack. Free ball sent over from Surings. Hagel looking once again to Anderson, recycled off the Manitoba block. Klein now, another block for Manitoba, recycled. Tipped over from Cook, nice coverage from Katojo, flushing it out to Surings. She takes full advantage of the one-on-one.
Great coverage from Mary Rio Florido in that sequence and that rally, as she had several recycle opportunities, but Saskatchewan just not able to pick up a physical kill. And Manitoba leaves it to their number 1 option of Rhea Surings to finish off that extended rally.
Another nice pass from Rio Florido. Nice pickup from Martins. Gray backpedaling to get a jump on it. Klein now bounces off the net tape and out of bounds. Bison's point.
Just an unfortunate bounce there for Abby Klein, as it was a good swing, and sometimes the net will take speed off of the ball in her favor, but that bounce there unfortunately seemed to add to the velocity, almost kicking it out the side of the court.
Another good pass from Rio Florido. Back to Anderson, looking down the line. Well dug by Katojo. Now Gray off the block, good coverage from Katojo. Surings off the block and out of bounds for the kill. Great defensive play from the middle, Eve Katojo.
She's all over the floor. Watch her here, Amber, literally on the floor, keeping that rally alive. And you know, Anderson and Surings have had a good little back and forth attack and block battle, and Surings gets the most recent kill against her counterpart there.
Another great pass from Rio Florido off the block of Manitoba. Hagel now going out to Klein. Good pass from Katojo. Surings ripping away, popped up from Rio Florido. Hannah steps in to help. It's a little tight to the net, well covered by Martins. A good set from Katojo. And Almonte now out to Surings, off the block. Lots of scrambly play there, ends up in favor of the Huskies.
Both sides doing a remarkable job blocking, and credit has to go to Avi Plett on the Manitoba side and Talia Cook on the Saskatchewan side, as I think both of those players probably put on about 100 steps in that rally alone.
Cook now to serve. Won't clear the net. Gray now back to serve for Manitoba. Pass from Klein causes some troubles. Well inside, and Klein just misses the tracking of the ball. Point Manitoba.
Great broken play set there from Rio Florido, and I think perhaps Abby Klein got a little too excited by how good that broken play set was, trying to do something real flashy with it.
Pass up from Klein. Hagel teeing it up for Hannah, and the pipe run well dug by Gray. Now Surings looking down the line. Surings does a great job with like the body turn to get down the line. She was angled full cross court. Let's get another look here. Watch this angle. Full cross court swing, and then when she's up in the air, crosses over down the line. It's so well disguised. Pass up from Klein. Rio Florido to Anderson. Nice slowdown from the Bisons blockers, and Martin's taking matters into her own hands at a timely point.
And good choice from Martins to use the power tip rather than the swing in that circumstance, as you know, when she gathers herself to swing, it takes an extra half second for her to get to full elevation and then rip. The power tip is just a quicker option, and she definitely caught the Huskies defense resetting and out of position in order to earn herself that kill. It's going to be a timeout from Coach Dodds on the Huskies side, as Manitoba has quietly but quickly found themselves a 5-point lead at the start of this third set, and this seems to be a trend that is reoccurring in this match, as both teams have been found guilty of a little bit of lazy starts to certain sets, and Manitoba was certainly guilty of that in set number 2, and now we're finding the Huskies the culprit of just coming out a little flat in this set. And unlike the Manitoba Bisons, who their problem was simply around a lack of serve-receive execution, the Huskies have been passing the ball well. They just haven't been able to score against the Manitoba block and defense. So we'll see what Coach Dodds' adjustment will be coming out of this timeout, as they've got to try and throw something a little bit different towards the Manitoba Bisons' way.
Team's back on the floor after that Coach Dodds timeout. Ella Gray will be the one to serve for Manitoba. Pass up from Klein. Hagel looking to go back to Anderson. Takes Martins out of the equation. Sabenga to Surings, and a massive block. A great answer out of the timeout. Credit to Aiden Woloshin for shutting down Surings.
I've made this comment once already in this match, but when your offense isn't clicking, you can still score points on defense, and that is a big point from Aiden Woloshin coming out of that timeout.
Pass up from Gray going out to Surings. High swing from Surings, goes wide.
That rate of Surings attack goes out of bounds. Huskies win the point and retain the service.
Dangerous server, and Keely Anderson, not one you want to let get on a heater. Pass up from Sabenga puts Martins on the run. Surings tracking off the block and deep into the Bisons' backcourt. You said it earlier, Adam. Manitoba's serve receipt has been struggling. And the service pressure from Keely Anderson is not making anything easier here for Manitoba.
And it makes the life of the blockers for the Huskies so much easier, as it eliminates any sort of middle opportunity. But Manitoba responds with a good pass from Ella Gray, and the step run is dug once again. Free ball sent over.
Anderson digs the attack of Martins. Klein now recycled off the block. Anderson another chance. Dug up well by Sabenga to Surings. Tipped over. Couple quick touches for the Huskies, but to no avail. Surings comes out with the kill.
I think Syrinx was due for a tip or a change of pace on her attack in some way, and that certainly caught the Huskies defense by surprise. A good effort from Keely Anderson, but just not on top of that play enough to extend that rally.
Syrinx now back to serve. Trickles over, pass up from Klein. Back to Woloshin, she has to tip it. Sabanga pops it up, free ball sent over. What is some confusion there for Manitoba. I think they were expecting a whistle.
And rightfully so, Amber, as that ball did fall between the middle of Avi Plett and the libero Chelsea Sabanga. And there's some criticism for the head official, but I've been in his shoes. That play had Avi Plett with her back to the ball, and sometimes as a head official you just lose sight of the ball and you're not quite sure what contact occurred, and perhaps a little bit of help from the down official would have been helpful there.
Syrinx's serve attack blows out the back. Just like that, Huskies within one. Abby Klein now to serve. Pass up from Gray, another chance for Syrinx in the C-ball run. And another big block for Aiden Woloshin.
Syrinx can't buy a kill here in this third set, and it's not her fault, as there has been so much attention on her from the Huskies block simply due to the lack of serve-receive execution, and it allows the Huskies block to release to the Manitoba #1 option of Syrinx and get in her way.
Pass up from Sabanga out to Almonte. Dug by Klein right into the hands of Avi Plett. She's able to flush it down for the simple kill.
That's a better set selection from Julia Martins, getting away from this steady diet of Rhea Syrinx in the offense and giving Almonte a rep. And we know that she's more than capable of scoring, and if you're not going to get a point, an overbump is the next best option. And she just gave a free kill for Avi Plett, her teammate.
Nice pass from Rio Florido going out to Taryn Hanna. She was well above the fingertips of Martins. Spoiled for choice as she goes down the line.
Huskies win the point, tie things at 10. Now serving for Saskatchewan, number 8, Aiden Woloshin.
Woloshin now back to serve. Nice pass from Van Wellingham. Look in the middle to Katojo.
Finally, an attack out of the middle for the Manitoba Bisons as they get a pass that allows them to go to Katojo. And we know the intensity that Eve Katojo plays with. She must just be salivating, waiting for some sort of opportunity to attack the ball.
Nice pass from Hannah. She gets the give and go. The block, free ball sent over from the Huskies well into the corner. What court vision from the Huskies to be able to identify that gap.
And that's the Manitoba's defensive system, is they always tend to creep up from position 5, and Chelsea Sabanga was just caught in her system. Not necessarily the fault of her, that's just the Bison system, but well identified by the Huskies to score where there is always a bit of lack in the Manitoba defense.
Teal Hagel takes the dig out of the equation. Hannah recycles off the block. Nope, no contact called. 4 points, or four contacts. Point Manitoba.
Huskies charged with a 4th hit, and the Bisons reclaim the lead. Now serving
yeah, hard to tell. Hard to tell whether or not that cleared the net tape or not. Almonte now back to serve. Pass up from Rio Florido, going all the way out to Hannah. Popped up nice and high from Sabanga. Syrinx trying to do something with it. 4 contacts. Manitoba looks completely out of sorts, despite the score being very close. We're tied up here at 12.
And we're not seeing any real life or energy on the Manitoba side of the court, as even when there's a point scored or a good play made, we're not seeing them come together or celebrate in any way or build any sort of momentum.
Syrinx with a lot of aggression, catches some fingertips, point Manitoba.
Good response, and perhaps she's the individual that they're maybe too reliant on at times to score in big ways and build that real momentum for the Manitoba side. And at some point, it's going to have to be more than just number 25.
Nice pass from Rio Florido, looking in the middle to Cook. Now Plett popped up, but Plett will get the last laugh with the kill.
Avi Plett has not been overly physical in this third set, but she's been scoring in unorthodox ways. And here's another example of sort of just a slow middle run, but easy enough for her to just flush that ball down onto the Huskies side of the court.
Pass out from Rio Florido, looking back to Anderson. Nice contact, or good slowdown from the Bisons block. Now Surings off the block and out of bounds for the kill.
We are seeing the frustration build on Keely Anderson's face as Rhea Surings continues to attack her hands. And in set number 2, it was all Keely Anderson in this battle, but here in set 3, Rhea Surings has had the upper hand more often than not.
Well passed from Hannah, back to Anderson, tipped over, popped up from Katojo, free ball sent over from U of M. Hagel now outside to Klein. Another good touch from Katojo, but up into the stands it goes. Klein will be credited with that kill.
Good response there from the Huskies as they break that run of Manitoba and give themselves an opportunity to try and defend for a run.
Cook now to serve. Serve finds the belly of the net, Manitoba's point.
Almost seemed like Talia Cook is rushing herself a little bit at the service line, Amber, as she sort of got back there, got the ball, and as the whistle went, she immediately goes into her serve, and we've seen 2 serves from her find really nowhere close to getting over the net, really buried in the middle of the net.
She went on quite a service run, I believe in set 2, so she's more than capable of putting some points on the board. Just got to take her time. Out to Klein with a rip of a swing on the left side.
Good resilience from the Manitoba defense, but this Huskies offense is much too physical, and there are way too many options for them offensively to score for Manitoba to continue to give them free balls over and over.
Tricky serve from Anderson, well handled by Sabenga. Some scrambles at the net here. Klein trying to corral it, but 4 contacts will be called for the Huskies. Manitoba's point.
Goes to Rhea Surings and the Bisons. Surings now serving for Manitoba, 17-14 the lead here in the third set.
Surings now to serve. Pass from Rio Florido right into the hands of Plett. She hops up and throws down with authority.
She's had a few freebies go her way in set 3 in exact fashion like that, and you know she's got a lot of backs to pat at the end of this match to thank her teammates for giving her some really easy free opportunities.
Rhea Surings serving for the Bisons.
Popped up from Klein. Hagel feeds it right back to Klein. Nice touches at the net and well dug up by Ella Gray. Free ball sent over from Manitoba. Good opportunity here for Saskatchewan. Good coverage from Anderson. Free ball sent over from the Huskies. Martin's looking to go back to Plett. Recycled off the block. Martin's out of the equation. Surings, free ball. Hagel looking to Woloshin. Nice dig from Graves. Pretty tight to the net, just redirected for Martins. Klein now. Recycled off the block. Klein gets another opportunity, that time to go on 2. Martin's trying to get out to Almonte to get away from traffic. Martin's swinging now. We have a extended rally here, folks. Keely Anderson recycled off the block, out to Klein, and a big block for Manitoba to finish off what was, I believe, our longest rally of the night so far.
Take a breath, Amber, as you kept up pace for pace with what was such an incredible rally. So much effort and so many players, it's hard to highlight any of it, but Avi Plett puts an exclamation mark on such an entertaining rally with a huge block. And Coach Dodds has now elected to sub in Rosetta Sear in relief of Abby Klein.
And an ace for Rhea Surings to follow it up. Surings' serve has caused all kinds of problems this weekend for the Huskies, and she's on yet another service run. Coach Mark Dodd is going to use a second and final timeout to try and ice this service run of Rhea Surings.
The fitness level of these university athletes is remarkable, Amber, as just that one rally alone is showcasing how impressive all of these athletes are. I would say somebody in that rally like Aiden Woloshin, she probably jumped maybe 15 times in that rally alone. Many of the Manitoba Bisons, they were in that same boat. You know, we saw Abby Klein eventually get blocked for the end, but she had 5 attempts in that rally alone, and it's not like she was rolling the ball over. It's not like she was electing to tip every time. She was going up and giving it all of her might over and over again, and we just have to really show our appreciation and our respect for how impressive these athletes are at their discipline, which is volleyball, and just putting on a great show for us.
Yeah, you don't necessarily think of volleyball as an endurance, where you think of it as an agility sport and an explosivity sport, but when you have to be agile and explosive for extended periods, that takes some endurance, and the cardio needed to keep high-octane, high-level play going during an extended rally. It's so impressive what these athletes can do. Pass up from Hannah, going out to Sear, looking deep to the corner, popped up from Ella Gray, pardon me. Almonte now, the dig up and over. Almonte, another chance, throwing it to the corner. Nice aggression for number 13.
You know, we just had such an extended rally just 2 points ago, and it can be such, not only physically exhausting, but mentally exhausting as well. And I think we're just seeing a little bit of that fatigue from the Huskies. When that big extended rally doesn't go your way, it's hard to bounce back right away.
Had a double sub there. We have Cassidy Wallace into sets and Jordan Wallace into swing. Pass up from Hannah, looking for Sear, tipped over, picked up from Surings. Now to Plett. Rio Florida was all over it. Wallace looking for the corner, but out of bounds it'll go. Pass up from Rio Florido. Back to Sear. Nice dig from Gray. Surings swinging on the right now. Well blocked, a tandem of Woloshin and Wallace coming in and making a difference.
You know, Rhea Surings, she's in the back row, and I would say typically that is maybe the third attack option for an offense that the opposition block will worry about. Not on this Manitoba team. The Huskies are paying so much attention to Rhea that they still had an established 2-girl block in front of her, just locking her up in the back row. But unfortunately, no momentum able to be built from that stuff block, as it was followed up with a service error into the net. Manitoba now just 2 points away from taking this third set and an important 2-set-to-1 lead.
Pass up from Hannah. She gets the give and go. Well struck from Taryn Hannah, looking for that deep corner. Nice disciplined swing here.
And now, for Saskatchewan, #1, Haley Poyer.
Subbing in for Saskatchewan now, #1, Haley Poyer. A dangerous serving substitute. She's in relief of Voloshin. And a rare miss from Haley Poyer.
Bisons win the point. Serving now for Manitoba, #6, Julia.
Poyer is going to stay in and pass. She is listed as a libero on the roster. So Rio Florido is going to check in for Rosetta Sear rather than the middle. Pass up, going outside. Tipped over, kind of caught in the Bison's block. Katojo throws it back over. Rio Florido out to, Taryn Hannah. Almonte swinging cross court. And a big kill for Andy Almonte. Just like that, the Bisons secure set #3 and are up now 2-1. We're going to need a bit more Canada West volleyball to decide this one, though. Keep with us on Canada West TV, presented by BioSteel. We'll be back in set 4.
In Manitoba, the storm doesn't wait. Cold is sharp. The wind, it bites. Thunder, it claps. For us, we face it head on. That's what Bisons do. This is how we represent Manitoba. Horns up, shoulder to shoulder. We don't run from it. We charge through it. Every fight, every storm, we face together as one herd.
It's that moment again, the one you dream of every night. The only thing at the front of your mind is glory. The journey of success, of pushing yourself further than ever before. But the true glory is in the shadows, the sacrifices you make. When all the odds are stacked against you, when you can't push 1 more second, chase the glory.
The University of Saskatchewan changed this province and the way the world sees us. Our next chapter is now here. Help us create a brighter future. We can't do it without you.
With our vision and spirit and the generous support of our community, we will make the world a better place.
Together.
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 Together, we will be what the world needs. Give to the campaign for the University of Saskatchewan.
All right, Bison's on the floor, ready to roll in set 4, just waiting for Saskatchewan to join them. Bison's up 2-1 over the visiting Huskies. Let's take a look at the stats cumulatively across those first 3 sets. What's jumping off the page at you, Adam?
You know, Manitoba has just been hot and cold from the serve-receive side of things, but more often than not in set #3, they cleaned it up. The side-out percentage for Saskatchewan in that third set a very meager 44%. That's just not efficient enough to be in the hunt against any team, especially a team that's so solid from the serve side and defending side of Manitoba. So Saskatchewan just needs to take their opportunities when they're on serve receive and score rather than hoping for a mistake or allowing Manitoba to hold and build their lead.
Gray swinging on the right side to that deep corner, popped up and over. Katojo throws down. Smart choice from Eve Katojo.
Great hustle there from Hagel in the back row as she came up with a couple phenomenal digs. We'll see this one here, overhead, keeping the rally alive, and unfortunately she's just not able to get up and reset defensively on time.
Katojo to serve. Pass up from Rio Florido. Look in the middle to Anderson in this little step around run. Hannah just swiping it off the outside hand of Ella Gray for the kill.
Such a smart play from Taryn Hannah there, not just to tip the ball and keep the rally alive, but to be aggressive with this play and swipe it off the outside hand of Ella Gray.
Hannah now to serve, pass up nicely by Sabenga, activating Plett. Klein not getting the cleanest attack, picked up nicely by Manitoba. Good dig from Hagel. Free ball sent over from the Huskies. Let's see what Manitoba can do with it. Gray right into the hands of Klein. Free ball sent over from Manitoba. Hagel back to Anderson. Huskies taking that extended rally.
Huskies defense has been stellar to start this set and overall has been quite good as well. They've got 23 blocks in this match, or pardon me, digs in this match. And they continue to extend rallies here in the fourth set, and they've come out on top of the most of them.
Surings taking good care of the ball there, going off the block and out of bounds for the kill.
Rhea Surings has had an uncharacteristically inefficient attacking night, as that's her 15th kill, but 13 errors. And that a lot have come from blocks against her from this Huskies defense. They've done a great job neutralizing her, but enough of the other Bisons have stepped up to supplement some of the scoring.
Flicking back now to Anderson. Nice slowdown from the Bisons block. Martin's looking to Plett. Plett taking good care of the ball, throwing it down to one in the corner.
Gets it to fall. Bisons take the lead.
Ella Gray now to serve. Pass up from Rio Florido, going all the way out to Klein. Has to try and save it with her left hand, but two well-established blockers across the net.
That's now 3 or 4 sets already in this fourth set from TL Hagel that have just been a little bit too tight for her attackers to do anything with. And, you know, we saw Taryn Hannah manage one earlier and wipe off the hands of the Manitoba block, but that's not always going to be an option. And at some point, Hagel's going to have to pull the set off the net. And that one there is good, but it's managed by Manitoba's defense. Rhea Surings, however, ripping that ball well wide of the court from that cross-court swing.
With the point. Now serving for Saskatchewan, number 14.
Saskatchewan now back to serve. It'll be Talia Cook. Cook's serve finds the net once again. She went on a really long service run early in tonight's match, and since then has had quite a few service errors when it's been her time at the line.
Yeah, had 2 aces in set number 1. Has not added one since, and that's now her 3rd miss. So that ratio has sort of balanced itself out as the match has progressed.
Pass up from Hannah, going out to Klein. Block, let's see if Saskatchewan's able to recover. They can. Martin's out to Almonte, well covered by Hannah. Nice pass up. Martin's just plopping it into the campfire of Saskatchewan.
Great choice from Martins, and as a volleyball fan, that's my favorite time for a setter to dump, is when each side has had the ball 3 or 4 times and it's an extended rally, just to throw in that dump as everybody's brains are working overtime in that rally.
Hard struck serve by Rhea Syrinx. Tip over from Hannah. Nice pull off the block from Martins. Almonte just climbing the ladder doesn't have to put a ton of speed or pace behind that. Just an angle adjustment more than anything.
She sort of shrugged this off after the kill, as she knows it's a little unorthodox, but we'll take a term out of your playbook, Amber. They all score the same.
All points count the same. Quick timeout now for Coach Mark Dodds as the Bisons have sprinted ahead of the Huskies here in set 4.
You know, we haven't seen the same life that we've sort of saw in that second set, especially from the Huskies, and I think that's hurting them a little bit here. And you know, we're not in on the Saskatchewan timeout here, but I'm curious to see if perhaps that's being felt by the coaching staff or by the lineup on the floor as well, that, you know, they've made good plays, they've had extended rallies, but they really haven't been able to find that momentum building attitude, and perhaps that's something that needs a change.
It feels like the extended rallies on Saskatchewan's side of the floor, it's like a frazzled feeling. Like they're just trying to kind of keep up and get something back over, but it's not a polished, clean, systematic brand of volleyball. And that's hard to get into the right mental state when you're just playing with this urgency, but not necessarily the good kind of urgency. It's the, ooh, I'm like panicky urgency versus confident urgency.
And to that point, Amber, it seems like when Saskatchewan is successful in those extended rallies, rather than it being a source of excitement and momentum, it's more of a feeling of relief. And that's not the way to build that positive energy on their side of the floor. So, you know, perhaps they'll bounce out of this timeout with a renewed sense of urgency in the right way. We're going to find out, but it's going to be tough to do with the server, Rhea Syrinx, at the line.
Pass from Rio Florido is up and over. Free ball opportunity for Manitoba. Off the block and into the antenna. That counts a kill for Andy Almonte.
You know, Rhea Syrinx, we've been watching all evening as to how aggressive she is from the service line. She hasn't really been rewarded, just one service ace, but what's more impressive to me, 0 service errors thus far.
Another nice pass from Rio Florido to Anderson. That one finds the floor, breaking the Rhea Syrinx service run.
Great side out from the Huskies there, as they needed that one desperately before this one became a little bit too much, and they're now sending one of their best servers to the line to serve.
Pass up from Sabanga. Syrinx swinging out the free ball run. The dig from Anderson up, over, and out. Syrinx with the kill.
Now serving for Manitoba, number 17,
Abby Plett now back to serve. Nice pass from Hannah. Looking to Woloshin, recycled off the hands of Almonte. Now Klein cutting in off the outside arm of Plett. Klein another chance at it. Really picking on that cross-court angle to Abby Plett. That time she'll score.
2 good out-of-system sets from the libero, Rio Florido, and the Manitoba block just not adjusting to the location of that set. It was left well inside the court, and Julia Martins just continued to go past that set and open up the cross-court lane too much.
Cut off by Anderson. Recycled off the block from Hannah. Back to Anderson again. Martins chasing it down. Almonte cutting inside. Dug up from Rio Florido to Hannah. And another cross-court bomb from Taryn Hanna. What a nice sequence from Saskatchewan. Rio Florido is putting on a defensive clinic out there, covering so much real estate.
She had not just three digs, three remarkable digs in that rally alone, doing it in a variety of ways. Just what a luxury it is for the Huskies to have a defender in position 5 that they can trust so much.
Out now to Hanna, tipping. Good coverage. Or good, you could even see Eve Katojo's hands were a little roof over the hands of Taryn Hanna. We'll get another look here. She just pops that one down. Great coverage from Rio Florido, but the second contact up, over, and out. Martin's service pass up from Rio Florido. Anderson out of the C-ball run. Interesting choices here from Manitoba. They have completely opted to not even attempt to block Keely Anderson when she does that C-ball run. Why do you think that is, Adam?
It seems to be a Bison philosophy in general, Amber, as the Huskies are not just the only team that they do that. They seem to trust their back row defense rather than putting up a block and possibly having the hands of the blockers in advantage for the opposition. So it seems to be a systematic decision, which I'm sure comes from Ken Bentley, the coach, just electing to trust the back row instead of trying to get a point at the net.
Killed there for Eve Katojo, bringing Andy Almonte back to serve now. Pass up from Rio Florido. Popped over from Hagel. Some scrambly play here. Flushing it out now to Gray, and a big block. That's a tandem of Cook and Hanna, shutting down the swing of Ella Gray.
You know, the Saskatchewan Huskies, we've commented, had 0 blocks in the first set. They have now amassed 11 through 3, and I believe that's maybe 2 or 3 already in set number 4. So they continue to be a problem for the Manitoba offense at the net and scoring points at that.
Pass up from Surings, back to Gray for another chance. That one catches some hands on its way out. Ella Gray making redemption there.
And a good change of shot selection from Ella as well, as this just seemed to be a higher swing, challenging more of the inside hand of Taryn Hanna rather than going at the middle blocker.
Tojo's serve, pass up from Klein, right on the dot, connecting with Anderson. Free ball sent over from Manitoba to recover. Now back to Anderson on the right side. Ricochets away from the Bison's defense. Anderson, a couple good opportunities there, comes out with the kill. Taryn Hanna now to serve. A couple of Bisons on that one. Surings tracking from behind her head, out of bounds, it'll go.
I love the aggression of Surings, and we know she's more than capable of scoring in that opportunity and that challenging opportunity at that, but sometimes you just wish she managed the ball a little bit more, considering that is just one of the hardest sets you could ever receive as a left side.
Plett popping it over. Out now to Klein. Klein has been using and abusing this cross-court shot throughout tonight's match, and she's scored on him way more often than not. Perhaps an adjustment needs to be made there for Manitoba, as even the libero, Chelsea Sabega, can't quite figure out how to corral it. Pass from Ella Gray out to Surings. Free ball sent over. Back now to Anderson. Popped up from Gray. Surings another higher quality chance and a better disciplined swing, but it's recovered from the Huskies. Free ball sent over. Martins now to Plett. Nice little sequence for Manitoba to activate Abby Plett.
The Husky side are up in arms that there was no carry ball call made. Coach Dodds saying that this ball was contacted well outside her body and dragged across, and you know what, I think he's got a pretty good argument for that case. It's not going to matter. The call stays in the Bisons' direction.
Pass up from Klein. She gets the give and go. And a block from Bled to follow it up.
This is what Manitoba does so quietly but so effectively, is follow up plays with consistent serving and earning points and starting runs, and just scoring 2-1 against your opponent is something they do so regularly and just make life very difficult for an opposition to come back. That's a great response though, as it's Taryn Hanna out of the back row, finding a lot of opportunity at position 5 once again.
Substitution for Coach Dodds here as number 1. Haley Poyer is going to check in to serve for Talia Cook. This is a good substitution, especially since Talia Cook has really struggled from the service line. Let's see if Haley Poyer can string together a few for her squad. Just out the back. She has been such an effective service sub in this weekend's matchup, but the last couple times she's gone in, just hasn't been the highest quality strike. I'm not sure what the issue is, but she has had a couple in the net. That one out the back. And now another one who's very capable of going on a run, and Rhea Surings. Popped very high. Huskies sending over a free ball. Connecting the middle to Plett. Popped up from Hagel. Thrown down by Klein. Bison's able to recover. And it'll be Woloshin picking up the kill on the overbump.
Pretty sloppy rally there from both sides, but I like the aggression from Woloshin to just get up at the net and terminate that rally with some aggression. Just clean up the untidiness from both sides.
Anderson now back to serve. Pass up from Sabenga. Out to Almonte, powering through the Huskies block for the kill.
Almonte, I feel, has had, not to her own fault, but just too quiet of a night offensively, as that's now just her 18th attempt. You know, that's quite the limited amount of volume for the other left side on the floor. Typically you see your attempts up in the 20s, maybe even 30s now that we're 4 sets in.
Klein's attack goes wide. Now back to Almonte. She has not had that many attempts, but she has been incredibly efficient. She has 8 kills, 0 errors on those 18 attempts. So she's one of the most efficient attackers on the floor for the Bisons tonight. She's just not getting the volume. Substitution on the floor for the Huskies. We have number 12, Mackenzie Liburn. She's checking in for Abby Klein. Pass up from Hannah. Back to Woloshin. Scooped up from Plett. C-ball opportunity for Surings. Liburn swinging away, recycled off the block, popped over. Martin's looking for the rip, but good coverage from Hannah. Liburn another chance. And a block for Katojo.
You know, being a substitute, no matter your position, is a very difficult task, and Mackenzie Liburn, especially in that situation, she comes in front row left side in relief, and the first 2 sets she gets are broken play, high ball situations where the Manitoba block has 2 big physical sets of hands in her way. It's just such a difficult opportunity to try and have success, but the Huskies are going to get bailed out by a missed serve from Avi Plett, and it's now going to put the substitute Liburn back to the line to serve.
Liburn, a Manitoba product out of Vincent Massey High School in Brandon. Near-ish to home field. Liburn serve goes out the back. Martin's back to serve for Manitoba. Skims over, pass up from Liburn, going all the way out to Hannah. Recycled off the Bison's block. Back to Anderson. And the dig from Surings is out of reach. Keely Anderson getting the rip out of the C-ball run.
You know, Keely Anderson's one of those athletes that is attacking that ball so aggressively that this philosophy from Manitoba to stay down at the net and allow the back row defense to handle it just isn't really working right now.
Substitution on the floor for the Huskies. Number 11, Ashley Toms, is going to check in. She's there in relief of Voloshin. Pass up from Almonte. High ball outside to Gray. Nice slowdown from the blocker's fingertips. Hannah having to track that one over the back of her head and somehow able to squeak it through the Bison's block.
It's remarkable timing from Taryn Hannah, Amber, as this is so difficult. You're looking back, you're waiting on that ball to cross your body, but you're also trying to track the Manitoba block, and she did a remarkable job of all of those complex skills at once.
Hannah, another chance, recycled off the block. No, it'll just be a stuff block for Katojo. Voloshin checking back in there quickly for Ashley Toms.
Eve Katojo has now 6 block assists on the night. She's had a fantastic game at the net on the defensive side of the game.
Pass up from Liburn going out to Hannah. Cut off by Sabenga. Surinks tipped over. What finesse from number 25 and a timely changeup.
Great choice from Surinks as this set was very tight, and to have the body control that she had here, jumping more upright rather than drifting in order to keep herself off the net and from under it. Just remarkable athleticism on display, and what does look to the naked eye as not that hard of a play, it truly was.
Pass up from Liburn is right on the dot. Anderson picked up from Almonte, or pardon me, from Martins. Free ball sent over from Manitoba. Heigl looking in the middle to Cook. A couple Bisons tangled up, and a tip kill for Talia Cook. TL Hagel now back to serve for the Huskies. Bit of a rainbow serve. Ella Gray, Bison's able to translate into the kill for Gray.
And good run from Julia Martins as Ella Gray has, again, had her number called a few times tonight, but definitely not the volume that she's capable of or perhaps used to at times. But that right there is just a great swing against what can be and has been all night long a very challenging Huskies block.
Katojo serve pass out from Liburn's going to need some help. Liburn now swinging out of the pipe run. Martins teeing it up for Surinks, looking down the line. Good vision from Rhea Surinks.
And a great dig from Eve Katojo as the back row attack from Liburn took quite a sizable hop off the Manitoba block, all the way out the end line just about. But Eve Katojo, typically a middle not known for their ball control, but she put that in a perfect location for Julia Martins. Manitoba now just 2 points away from clinching this match and a weekend sweep of the visiting Saskatchewan Huskies. And Coach Dodds, he's taken his second and final timeout of this 4th set, trying to find any sort of momentum or adjustments that they can make. But this one certainly seems like it's going to be a very unlikely comeback from the Huskies. In saying that, last night, I think we were in almost an identical scoring position. Perhaps it was maybe 22-15 for Manitoba. And the Huskies were able, with a couple personnel changes, to push all the way back. They did eventually fall in that set 25-23, but they made it interesting. They made it close. We'll see if they can apply some of that magic here on Saturday night.
Pass up from Liburn. All the way outside to Hannah, dug by Katojo, but right into Keely Anderson's kitchen. She's going to rip on that.
huge bounce there from Keely Anderson. And that's one, as a front row attacker, you dream of those balls. Just a nice over bump. The block is nowhere to be found, and you have just your pick as to where you want to rip that ball to.
Pass up from Gray. Sabenga outside to Surings. Lots of hands caught. Surings with the kill brings the Bisons to several possible match points. Nice broken play set there from Sabenga. Surings able to keep aggressive, and it'll be Ella Gray looking to serve out the match. Nice pass from Liburn. Back to Anderson. Popped up from Martins. Surings secures it for Manitoba. They take this 4-set 25-18, win the match 3-1, and complete the weekend.
That's a pivotal weekend series sweep for the Manitoba Bisons, as they have now established themselves to more of a top-tier team in the Canada West standings. They now propel themselves to a 10-4 record. Just below them in the standings now will be Saskatchewan at 9-7, and we are nearing the conclusion of this Canada West Conference season. And as a surprise to nobody, these two teams are going to be playoff ready in about a month's time, and I wouldn't be surprised if we perhaps get another visit between these two teams later in the season, perhaps competing to keep their seasons alive, or maybe even for a medal at the conference level.
Thank you so much for spending your Saturday night with us. Thanks for tuning in to Canada West TV, presented by BioSteel. Have a great rest of your Saturday.